Listen, I finally got my hands on a 613 blonde wig, and listen, y'all know I had to kill it, okay? So I'm gonna show you how I did this install, and we're gonna get into a shop talk. Stay tuned. What is going on, YouTube? It's your girl Easy Breezy, and I'm back with another hair sponsor. Thank you so much, Yolissa Hair, okay? Not new to my channel at all. They actually sent me my first blonde wig this summer, so thank you guys so much because I was itching to do some color. Now, for this video, I didn't dye the entire wig red because I did want y'all to see the different type of blondes that you can get with this hair. All right, so real quick, before we even get into the color, let's get into this lace tint. All right, so right now I have the light brown lace tint foam from GalaxyGirlHair.com. And I know a lot of y'all been asking me, well, how do we use the lace tint foam on blonde hair without, ruining the hair? And this is how. Instead of applying the lace tint foam at the very end after the wig is already installed, you do it before and only apply it directly to the bottom of the lace. All right, now we can get into the color of the wig and how I achieved this really pretty ash blonde. All right, so basically, I didn't have any permanent dyes. Like, I didn't have a box of white dye, so I had to be creative. First, I took a bowl and put some hot water in it, and I did two things. I put a few drops of lavender semi-permanent rinse in there from Adore, and then I put like a drop or two of cool jet black. So the reason I added the drops of lavender is because that's going to cancel out the gold undertones in the blonde. And the reason why I used the black is because I knew that that was going to give a light ashy feel to it. And believe it or not, like, I discovered this technique really on accident, right? So a long time ago, when I used to work in my salon, I had a client that wanted gray hair. And I'm like, okay, I have black semi-permanent dyes. I don't feel like going to the beauty supply store. So I'm gonna find a way. So basically, just how I do all my other watercolors where I put drops of color in a big bowl of water, I did the same thing with black dye. But you do have to make sure that the dye is neutral or cool, okay? When it has neutral undertones or cool undertones, it's gonna be like a bluish undertone, like a smoky, blue type of thing. But if it's warm undertones, then it's gonna turn like brown. Which, by the way, is not bad because that look can still be cute and still make a really pretty ashy type of blonde. But you just have to, know that little trick so you can get exactly the look that you're going for. So yeah, when I was finished creating that ash blonde effect on the wig, then it was time for the tips. Now, Yon here, my model, she always has like bright fire engine red hair. And I'm like, okay, I love her look. I love her whole aesthetic. I love how she's consistent with the red. But I'm like, I wanna switch it up a little bit. Like I wanna shake up the table a little bit. So of course, instead of doing the entire wig red, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do the tips and add some color in the front so it touches her face. And that method is the exact same way I do all my other watercolors. Basically, hot water bowl, add all the color of red in there and just dip it. Now, one trick that you really have to do to make sure it blends, the colors blend into each other, it's a smooth gradient and it don't look like a straight line of color. Wherever you needed to start blending, like between the first and the second color, you just use a coloring brush. So I dipped it in the water and I was doing light strokes like I was doing an ombre. Okay, so now that the hair is completely dry, you can see that the ombre effect is a lot better. It looks better, and the whole gradient is just a lot smoother. All right, so let's cut this black wrap off and cut the excess lace off so we can start styling and doing the baby hair. And of course, since we already used our lace tint foam in the beginning, we don't have to use it anymore during this process. But I will say this, okay? When you are using the lace tint foams from GalaxyGirlHair.com, especially on your clients, I highly suggest you start from the lighter tints and you go darker if you have to. Because when you're experimenting and you're like, okay, this person, she's kind of light skin, brown skin, I might need the medium brown. You may be mistaken and she might only need the light brown. So yes, if you are a stylist or if you are doing it on yourself, make sure you start with the lighter color first and then you go darker, because if you go darker and it's wrong, you can't go back. All right, so I just went ahead and separated the baby hairs, and now I'm using my pink hot comb so I can separate the hair even more, make it nice and flat, and get ready to do this rubber band hairstyle. Now, I don't know about y'all, but this whole process, especially the hot comb, is super satisfying. Like the hairline, the color, the blonde going into the red, so smooth. Like, I mean, this should be like called something. Like, what should I call this hairstyle? Like strawberry shortcake, strawberry cheesecake? Like, what's it giving? All right, so you already know we gotta get this part nice and sharp and defined. So I'm taking my tweezers and plucking the hair from it. And right after this, we can start doing the rubber bands. All right, so like I explained in a couple of my other videos, when I do styles on frontals, I always do it wet. So I can either use a spray bottle with water in it, or I normally use like a setting foam. And the reason for this is because when you do these styles, number one, when the hair is wet, it makes it a lot easier to play with. It's not any flyaways, a bunch of dry hair just going every which way. So number one, styling the hair wet makes it a lot easier and it makes it look a lot neater. So when you're doing braids or rubber bands or ponytails on a frontal, you do want it to look as neat and tight as possible without it actually being tight, because you know, if you pull the frontal too much, then it'll start to pull back after a couple of days. That glue gonna start showing and it's gonna be a hot mess. All right, so now that the style is finally done, it's giving scalp, okay? It looks totally natural, and that is because of the lace tint foam and the stocking cap, of course. Without that medium brown stocking cap underneath, you would definitely be able to see her red braids through the net. So I definitely learned that lesson a few times before I actually started implementing using stocking caps with my installs. But once I started, y'all, I couldn't go back. Like it's literally illegal to go back. All right, so I didn't really get into the baby hairs a lot, so I'm gonna go ahead and explain why I'm using the foam and why I'm not using the gel. Is because I had plans on combing them out and making them fluffy at the end, but I realized that I liked it just how they were, nice and stuck on. So I guess with this process, I could have used the liquid lace gel, but I used the tropical root setting foam. But the reason why I go back and forth between the two is because with the gel, of course, it's stuck on there. I mean, it's on there, like it ain't going nowhere. But when you use the foam, you can actually comb it out once it dries and make them look soft and fluffy. So that's the difference between using gel and using setting foam. All right, so I'm obsessed. Okay, I'm in love. We're not even done. The hairstyle is looking amazing. It's giving scalp, period. Baby hairs, scalp. Okay, period. So I'm gonna let her dry for about 20 minutes and then we're going to take this wrap off, comb the hair out one more time, flat iron it, and we done. All right, so now that we have a better angle of the color, I can see where I could have made it a little bit more smoother and softer, like the transition, but I'm not mad at it at all. So this is the final result, and y'all already know what I'm about to say. I'm obsessed. I'm in love. I am like lost for words. Like, it looks so good on her, and I'm just so glad we chose these colors for her. So once again, thank you so much, Yolissa, for sponsoring this video with this 613 blonde lace front unit. Now, you already know if you want this wig, I'm gonna put all the information in the description below. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, make sure you go ahead and do that. Turn on your notifications and get all your products from galaxygirlhair.com, and of course your wig from Yolissa. See you later.